of the sea can be divided into three main zones: the intertidal zone, pelagic zone, and benthic zone. The intertidal zone is also known as the foreshore, seashore, and sometimes referred to as littoral zone. This is the area between tide marks. It has three subzones: the low, mid, and high intertidal zone. The low intertidal zone is only exposed at the lowest of low tides. Mid-intertidal zone is regularly exposed and submerged by average tides. High intertidal zone is submerged only by the highest of the high tides. It spends much of its time as terrestrial habitats. It is the highest part of the seashore. We have 9 factors that are responsible for the distribution of organisms on the seashore. We have desiccation, wave action, temperature, light, aspect, slope, turbidity, substrate, and freshwater. The pelagic zone is the zone that includes all life in the open water. It is divided into two zones, the neretic zone and the oceanic zone. The oceanic zone is divided by two factors, based on depth and based upon the depth of light penetration. The third main zone is the benthic zone. It begins at the shoreline and extends downward along the surface of the continental shelf, continental slope, and continental rise. The marine biota can be classified broadly into those organisms living in either the pelagic environment or the benthic environment. We have the plankton and nekton classification of marine biota that lives in the pelagic environment, while we have the benthos that lives in the benthic environment. Planktons are also known as the floaters and classified into zooplankton and the phytoplankton. Zooplankton are microscopic floating animals, and they are heterotrophic. That means they rely on other organisms for food. Phytoplankton, on the other hand, are microscopic floating plants. They are autotrophic. That means they can provide their own food. Nekton are also called the swimmers. They are the active swimmers and include marine fish, reptiles, mammals, birds, and others. Benthos organisms are also called bottom dwellers. That means they live on the surface or at the bottom. Benthos organisms are classified into two: the epifauna, which organisms live on the bottom, and infauna, which organisms live within the bottom sediments.